Hello and welcome to day 14 of Lifebook's 30-Day Challenge. So happy to have you here with me today as we continue with the category we started yesterday, your love relationship. Today we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to take a look at one of the greatest challenges and one of the biggest opportunities in life, creating and maintaining an extraordinary love relationship. You know, there's no deeper joy than when two people fully commit to living their lives together and do it successfully. It's one of the most inspirational things we can experience. Now, before we begin our exploration today, I want to take just a minute to define what an extraordinary love relationship actually is. My personal mentor, Dr. Nathaniel Brandon, who had an immense impact on my love relationship with Missy, defines romantic love as a passionate, spiritual, emotional, sexual attachment between two people that reflects a high regard for the value of each other's person. Now, that's a great baseline definition for a romantic love relationship. And as we begin to think about what an extraordinary romantic love relationship looks like, I think we need to take it just a few steps further. Couples with an extraordinary love relationship adore each other. And they don't just adore each other passively, they demonstrate their adoration. They can't help it. Adoration just comes radiating off of them in the way they look at each other, in the way they talk to each other, in the way they talk about each other, in the way that they're affectionate to each other. Couples with extraordinary love relationships also trust each other. They are there for each other. No matter what goes before them, they know that they're always on the same team. Couples with extraordinary love relationships are highly connected, both personally and professionally, which doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be business partners. They may very well have two separate careers, but they do not have two separate lives. They know what's going on in each other's lives at a deep level. Couples with an extraordinary love relationship communicate honestly, easily, and openly. Effective communication, which we're going to talk about a lot today, is literally the hallmark attribute that separates healthy relationships from unhealthy relationships. And finally, couples with an extraordinary love relationship tend to put each other first. They tend to value each other above everything else. They're the single most important thing in each other's lives. So, an extraordinary love relationship, as we define it in Lifebook, is a passionate, spiritual, emotional, sexual attachment between two people who adore each other, who trust each other, who are highly connected, who communicate effectively, and who value each other above all else. Now, it is extremely rare that you're ever going to see an extraordinary love relationship like that. Matter of fact, you can go through an entire lifetime and never see one. I was 30 years old before I ever saw one. And outside of the Lifebook community, I've only ever seen two love relationships that fit our definition. I've seen a bunch of them in the Lifebook community, but that's because we know how to do it. You know, it's not impossible for you. It is a very, very difficult thing, and it's a very rare thing, but it is possible. There's a recipe for doing it. And today we're going to explore what that recipe is. We're going to examine how an extraordinary love relationship like that is created. And specifically, we're going to identify some strategies that you can use to make it happen in your own life. Okay, let's begin this exploration with an age-old principle that you're going to hear more than once during the course of this challenge. It's been taught by many of the greats of philosophy, the greats of religion and human potential. We call it the principle of habitual behavior. The principle of habitual behavior says your habits shape your life and define you as a human being. The dictionary defines the word habit as an automatic pattern of behavior, which is acquired through frequent repetition. Now, if you take a look at the areas of your life where you're doing really well, where you're crushing it, you're going to discover that it's because of your good habits, period. And likewise, the other side of that coin, if you look at the areas of your life where you're doing poorly, where you're failing or under-delivering, it's likely going to be because of some bad habits somewhere. And nowhere does this principle apply more directly and more obviously than in your love relationship. Simply put, the quality of your love relationship comes down to the quality of your love relationship habits, for better or for worse. Here is the most common story that we've encountered over the years among couples who've been married for a long time, and this is a sad one, but this is literally the common story. When we were first together, it was magical. We couldn't get enough of each other. We spent as much time together as we possibly could. We'd stay up all night long and talk for hours. We never got tired of it. We never got tired of each other. We laughed. We had fun together. We did special little things for each other all the time. The sex was awesome. We were head over heels in love, totally passionate about each other. Then the kids came, and our careers heated up, and now we just don't have as much time to spend together. But that's normal, right? We used to put each other first in everything we did, but now it seems like everything else comes first before our love relationship. The kids, our jobs, our friends, church, sports, those special little things we used to do for each other to spice things up have kind of faded. For instance, we used to care about how we looked when we were alone together, when it was just the two of us, but now we don't pay too much attention to that anymore. Truthfully, we spend more time making ourselves look good to go to work than we do for each other. We used to be openly, publicly affectionate to each other. Couldn't help it. Couldn't keep our hands off of each other. But now the electricity that was in the air during those early years is gone. Our sex life is okay, when we make time for it, but not even close to what it used to be. Don't get me wrong, we still love each other, but we're so busy that we hardly get to spend any time alone together, any intimate, deep time with each other. And when we do have time together, we tend to be so exhausted by the rest of our lives that we just don't have a lot of energy left for each other. But that's normal, right? Yeah, it's normal. It's totally normal. It's probably the most common story there is. It's average, it's mediocre, and it's the result of mediocre habits. If you want to turn what started out as a passionate, exciting, fulfilling love relationship into a boring, lukewarm, average love relationship, all you got to do is replace the conscientious, romantic, exciting habits that you used to have with lukewarm, unconscious, lazy habits, and you'll have the total recipe for a mediocre love relationship. And in my mind, that's just unacceptable. I mean, how is it that people can unconsciously surrender what's probably the single greatest thing about living life on earth? Finding someone else to fall in love with and sharing your life with that person. How can you just surrender that so easily? Yes, mediocre relationships are normal. They're the most common type of love relationships that we see all around us, but it certainly doesn't have to be your story. We can keep our love relationships growing, we can keep them expanding, and we can keep them every bit as hot and romantic and passionate as they ever were before if we just care enough to install the right habits. So your exercise for today is to choose a great love relationship habit and to practice it every single day for the remainder of this challenge. And I'm going to share a few really good, powerful habits with you right now that you could choose from that would really move the needle in this important area of your life. Or, of course, you can make up your own and practice it every day. So here we go, Lifebook Love Habits. Habit number 1, first and foremost, is the habit of communicating effectively with each other. Being able to share with each other honestly and openly and easily. Now, this habit's number 1 for a reason, because communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, and the love relationship particularly demands effective communication in order to flourish. But it's not always easy to communicate your emotions with someone you're in love with. It's sometimes just because of the intensity of the feelings involved. Here's what Dr. Nathaniel Branden said is the question when it comes to communicating effectively in a love relationship. Do you create a context in which your partner can feel free to share feelings, thoughts, fantasies, hurts, and complaints without the fear that you're going to condemn, attack, lecture, or simply withdraw. Now I'm going to repeat that because it's quite possibly the most important single question you could ever ask if your goal is to create a healthy, happy love relationship. Do you create a context in which your partner can feel free to share feelings, to share thoughts, fantasies, hurts, and complaints without the fear that you're going to condemn, attack, lecture, or simply withdraw? If a couple can't answer yes to that question, and the vast majority of couples can't, we don't have to wonder where the difficulties in their love relationship comes from. If a couple can't communicate effectively, they're not even in the game when it comes to creating an extraordinary love. Now, that doesn't mean that we should expect our partner to be in total agreement or completely overjoyed with everything that we feel or say or do or share. Life just doesn't work that way. But we've got to be able to express ourselves in an atmosphere of trust and respect and acceptance. And that's exactly what our partner needs from us too. The habit of effective communication is foundational to an extraordinary love relationship. So during this challenge, you could choose that one and work on it every day. Next is the habit of demonstrating your love. As we say in the Lifebook program so many times over and over and over, love requires action. Passion and desire and romance require action. It's not just enough to experience these feelings internally. They've got to be consistently, habitually expressed in deeds. Plan romantic dinners. Send flowers for no reason. Send a romantic text or a sexy text to each other. Be affectionate. Touch each other. Kiss each other. Tell your lover that you love her, that you love him all the time, that she's beautiful, that he's awesome. Do special little things to light each other up, and do it all the time. Here's a little example from my own life. I take a nap every afternoon after lunch. I have for years. And every single afternoon when I come downstairs, Missy's made coffee for me. She puts a little cream and sugar out, and she leaves a love note every single day. It's a little action. Takes her probably 60 seconds, I don't know, but it's big for me. It means I care about you every single day. It means I was thinking about you this afternoon. I think about you every afternoon. Every single afternoon when I come down and see my little cup of coffee and her love note, I think about her caring for me. I think about her loving me. 365 days a year. That's a little thing, but that's awesome. Every single day that you spend with your partner is another opportunity that you have to develop a habit that will express your love, that will express your passion for each other, and your immense gratefulness for the beauty that you're building together. Here's the next love relationship habit I want to share. The habit of really paying attention to your partner. And this is a very, very overlooked habit in most love relationships. When you're working and your wife walks into the room, stop. That is the love of your life standing right in front of you. So be there and ask yourself, how's she feeling right now? Is there something that she needs from you right now? What can you do to light her up in this moment? If you're dealing with the kids, if you're helping them with their homework or doing whatever in the kitchen and he walks in the room, stop. That's your man. Be there. Ask yourself, what does he need from me right now? Did he have a rough day at work? How can I support him? How can I light him up right now? Train your mind to tune in to your partner's experience and get connected. Remember, there's nothing more important than the person who's standing right in front of you. So if you can learn to tap into that deep well of love and respect and admiration that you have for your partner, you can really heat up your love relationship. It works wonders. We've got a Lifebook member named Jason Rhodes, and he and his wife have a really cool little ritual. They call it their welcome home habit. And this is another one of those small but very big rituals that takes place every single time one of them arrives home for the day. They stop everything, doesn't matter what's going on, and they welcome each other with hugs and kisses. For the next 5 minutes, nonstop, it's full-on attention. And we're not talking about just, hey babe, how did work go today? They demonstrate full, undivided attention for each other every single day when they see each other after work, 365 days a year. That is awesome. Our next love habit is one of the most powerful love habits of all, the habit of carving out sacred time to spend together and never missing it. You could create a daily connection ritual like Jason's welcome home ritual, or Missy and I have this ritual we call our ring walk. Every single day after work, we spend at least a half hour, if not an hour, walking around our garden and just reconnecting with each other and catching up from the events of the day. It has been amazing for our entire relationship. We also have a weekly date night. In my experience, this has been probably the single most important love strategy that we've ever employed. One night per week, alone together, overnight, no matter where in the world we are. We've done this for more than 25 years, and I think that it's been the single most powerful love strategy that we've ever implemented into our love relationship. Lifebook members who've tried this, who've added this to their love rituals, know the power of it. We've got a couple wonderful Lifebook members named Andy and Shelley Clark. They've even added a weekly business meeting in addition to their overnight date to make sure that their date doesn't turn into, administration or finances or housekeeping nights. Because your dates should be about fun. They should be about sex and romance and love, and they should be exciting. They shouldn't be about all the stuff that we've got to do. So that was a really great idea from Andy and Shelley. The next love relationship habit that we're going to explore is the habit of handling disagreements intelligently. Couples with a toxic or a mediocre love relationship just don't know how to fight well. Either they're going to have a huge emotional explosion, right? Or they'll just clam up. When you encounter a disagreement, which you inevitably will, you've got to learn how to deal with it intelligently. If you have to argue, or even if you have to have a bit of a fight, you've got to learn to do it wisely. Sounds strange, but it's absolutely the truth. And in order to do this, again, you've got to train your mind in right thinking. You got to remember, in the heat of those moments, this is the person I love. Even when you're angry, you got to remember we're on the same side, even when we disagree. You got to remember that you are for each other and that your partner deserves the benefit of the doubt always. So try to be solution-oriented when you can, instead of being self-indulgent and just blowing up emotionally. If you can't bring compassion and understanding and empathy in that moment, which you sometimes can't, it is the way it is, maybe just move away from each other and give each other a little space to cool down. And this is something that Missy and I have done over the years. It's awesome. We try to see who's going to be the first one to come to their senses and make up from this argument. Make that a habit. And that person is a hero in our book. The first one that can apologize after the argument. It might take a minute. Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it takes longer than that. But to be the first one to say you're sorry and to mean it is an awesome thing. So you could make that a habit, to take responsibility for your part of a disagreement or an argument. Because, let's face it, these are usually not completely one-sided, right? The last love relationship habit that we'll explore is the habit of keeping your love life exciting. Holy cow, does this one go out the window after a few years usually. Don't allow yourself to stagnate in this relationship. Experience the thrill of life together continuously. Strive to do new things together so you can keep growing and learning together. Try new restaurants, or a painting class, or a foreign language, or learn to make sushi, or blow glass art, or take a wine tasting class together. Have great conversations about the book that you're reading or the program that you're listening to. Take some trips together. Bring adventures into your love life. I'll tell you, travel has been a huge part of my relationship with Missy. We've been to over 90 countries. We've had amazing, unforgettable, totally outrageous experiences together that has just taken our love life to the next level, year after year after year. Infuse sensuality into your relationship consciously. Keep it hot. Bring some consciousness to it, Plan out your date nights. Light some candles. Put on some awesome music. Use aroma. Use, scented oil or perfumes. learn sensual massage, dress up for each other. Like I said, most people stop caring about how they look after they've been married for a few years. They just don't see any reason to go through any trouble for each other. They don't want to expend any energy. And then they wonder why their partner isn't turned on anymore, right? Don't do that. You want to keep things fresh. You want to refuse to surrender to a stale existence like so many of the couples that you see around you. Refuse to be boring. Be an exciting, passionate person and bring all of that energy to your love relationship. And then you're going to have an exciting, passionate love relationship. So those are just a few great habits and practices that you could employ in your love life. And your exercise for the day is to pick one or to make up your own and practice it for the rest of the challenge. What's that one thing that if you employed it in your love relationship, if you did this thing differently, has the power to really begin the transformation of your love relationship? Is there a nourishing, positive habit that you could start to implement today? Or possibly a draining, negative habit that you're running over and over and over that you want to eliminate? Choose at least one great love habit and install it into your relationship. Or choose a negative habit that you want to get rid of and eliminate it. Extraordinary love is so rare. You very rarely see it. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come free. It requires diligent action and a high level of combined consciousness from both of you. And it's got to be earned through great habits. Automatic patterns of behavior which have been acquired through frequent repetition. No matter where you are in this wonderful, incredibly important area of your life, you really do have the potential to create an extraordinary love relationship if you simply do the things habitually that an extraordinary love relationship requires. Well, that's it for day 14 of our 30-day challenge. I hope you really enjoyed this category as much as I did. I love this category. It's one of my favorites. Tomorrow, you're in for an eye-opening experience as well. We're going to explore a category that's simultaneously crazy and fun, difficult, demanding, but also joyful, and truly one of the most important categories of life. Tomorrow, we're going to be exploring the wild, wonderful world of parenting. Now, you got to tune in, even if you don't have kids. This is going to be a very important category for you, as you're going to discover, because parenting is just an indispensable part of the human experience, and it's one that deserves a deep, hard look and understanding from all of us, whether or not we have kids. So I'm really looking forward to that. Until then, keep up the good work, have a lot of fun with your love relationship exercise, and I'll see you tomorrow.